Okay, that angle's better. Hi guys, I'm Nicole, obviously. It's been a while since anyone posted a video on the channel. We kind of gave up on the whole BROTPARTY social media. You might hear my music in the background. Don't mind it. I'm sorry. It's too quiet in here without it, so I'm playing it. I'll try to keep it down though. Anyway, so I was watching a different YouTuber. I'm also going to show my phone, sorry. I was watching a YouTuber, and even though it's not October, I decided to do something that she tagged all the people who watched one of her videos in, which was a scary thing, and I'm gonna do that. Here we go. Number one, your scariest real life experience. I don't know what it means by that. Does it mean something I've experienced in real life that's super scary? Like something that's happened to me that's super scary? Does it mean like getting confronted on the street kind of scary? Because if it's that kind, I have two different experiences. One was in 6th grade where I was bullied. I was bullied terribly bad. It was just horrible. And so one day I finally got fed up with it, and I can see reflections in my glasses. It's distracting. So I finally got tired of it, and I was like, okay, you know what? Fuck this. So, I went after one of the 4 girls that was bugging me, because what happened was, I was sitting, getting my stuff out of my gym locker, sitting on the floor getting my stuff out of my gym locker, and they just kept taking things from my hands and out of my lap, and so after they took this headband that I'd been wearing that was gemmed. They weren't real gems, obviously, but it meant a lot to me because my mom wore it a lot, and that was right after well, it wasn't right after, but it was right around the time my mom almost died. It was a couple years after, but it was around that time, so it meant a lot. And so one of the girls took it, and so I finally stood up and chased after the one that got it, like, this is her, and this is me. And then and since our gym lockers were separating out 2 sides of the thing with, like, it looked like a U basically, and so I chased her around the middle of the U part of it, and then when we got to the other side, I jumped on her, and I don't have nails. You can see that. I bite them. They're terrible. But I somehow managed to leave claw marks on her neck before I got pulled off, before anyone pulled me off of her, and then I got the shit beat out of me, and it was terrifying. The good thing about having a baby face, though, like, I still have this baby face. This is the same face I had when I was in 6th grade, except for the glasses. The glasses are different. And I'm a junior in high school now. So I was bright red, tears streaming down my face, just in hysterics. I didn't get in as much trouble as they did. Mostly because a lot of people were willing to vouch that they had started it, but, you know, I still didn't get in as much trouble. And then the second time was freshman year, I think. I'm in a really small town, so it's not hard to walk everywhere. And there's a shortcut through I don't want to say it's pretty shady, but it's kind of shady neighborhood. So I was walking towards the library through the shady neighborhood, and this random guy came up to me, and he's like, "Hey, he didn't say hey, bitch, but, you know. He's like, hey, you got any money for poker? And I'm like, nah, I'm broke. And he's like, man. And then he starts, like, threatening to anally rape me. And I'm like, yo, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I nearly booked it. Because it's right down the block from the police station. I could have just booked it the entire way. But they didn't. Once I walked away, they left me alone. I wasn't worried about it. I had a switchblade in my pocket. Something I was less worried. Also something that made me less worried. Still scared the shit out of me, though. Because I was, like, 14, and these guys were full-grown assholes. It was pretty scary. Scary's paranormal experience. I don't know how to phrase this. I don't have many paranormal experiences. one I have in this house pretty often is because I used to move around a lot. None of the ones we've lived in have been super haunted. This one's the most, I think. But the scariest I've had in this house in general is when I'm home alone or in a room alone, like in our living room alone, I'll see black shapes darting in and out of the giant mirror we have hanging up over our mantle. And my mom has her door open all the time, so she can go in and out without having to worry about closing it. And the dogs don't have to worry about it. And she hears a little girl's voice from this vicinity of my younger sister's room, which is about 5 feet down the hall, going, "Mama, Mama," over and over. And none of us know where it's coming from. I can hear it from the living room, another 5 feet down. She can hear it from her bed. And I can't hear it from my bedroom, even though it's supposed to be like 3 feet from me. It's friggin' scary. Have you ever known anyone convicted of a violent crime? I'm 16. I don't know anyone who's been convicted in general. Are you afraid of the dark? Why or why not? I'm scared of the dark. I flat out admit it. I am terrified of the dark. And it's partly because whenever it gets dark, it tends to get super quiet, and I can't stand things being super quiet, aka why my phone is playing right now. But not, and if there's something playing in the background, even if it's just my music, it makes me feel a lot better because just being alone and complete silence scares the shit out of me. Excuse my language. For some reason. But being alone in the dark is one of my worst fears. And like I can stand outside my house where there's porch lights and street lights, and it'll still scare the shit out of me because it's not that well lit of a neighborhood, and I can see things out of the corner of my eye. I don't know what they are. I think it's just my imagination because I have this wild imagination, and I see things, and they scare me. So I don't go outside my house much after dark, unless there's someone with me. Then I'm okay. Does your hometown have any scary stories or legends? I'm not from the town we're in right now, but I do have some from my hometown because my dad wasn't there before we moved here, and he made one up to prank his junior prom because they were having it in the middle of a park, and so he made up some ghost story about a girl who committed suicide on the night of prom because she didn't have a date or whatever, and then he scared the fuck out of everyone. But some legit ghost stories from that town it's Fredericksburg, Texas, so the story of the Indian brave, which is that an Indian man fell in love with a white woman who lived in town, and the way the town was set up is that the church was in the center of town, right up Main Street, and so Indian man falls in love with a white woman. They decide to run away together, and she says for him to meet her on the steps of the church. And the way the church works is that it's a octagon-shaped church. You can check it out if you Google the town. But so it was octagonal, and not around every corner, but in every corner inside the church, hidden in the shadows. I'm getting ahead of myself here. And so they decided to meet at midnight at the church, of course. And the woman's 7 brothers found out about this. So she's waiting on the front steps, and unbeknownst to her, her brothers are waiting in each and every shadow inside the building. And so down the street comes her Indian brave, carrying his tomahawk, as was tradition before you get married. And out of the shadows stepped the girl's 7 brothers, and they shot him 7 times. But such was his love, and such was his devotion, that he stumbled and crawled and pulled himself to her feet, laid his tomahawk there, and died. And the woman was so overtaken with grief that she picked it up and slit her own throat. And they say on foggy nights, if you go towards that part of Main Street, because they moved the church for expansion, and so when you go toward where the old church was on a foggy night, you can see the silhouette of a man and woman embracing in the fog. And one's my favorite, obviously, and another one is there's back when this town was, it's an old town. It's like 1800s. And so when the first German settlers came by in the 1800s, they needed bridges because it's in the middle of a valley and there's a lot of rivers. So they built a low stone bridge. And it would flood over when it poured because they were poor bridge builders. And a woman decided to run away with her love there. But the night they decided to meet, it was raining like super hardcore. That's not how it was phrased to me, but it was raining pretty bad. And the woman's lover got, I don't remember exactly what happened to her lover, and either he decided not to go because it was raining too bad, or he got stopped by her father. I don't know. I don't remember. Either way, she was waiting on the bridge in a heavy gown, and when the waters rose, she got swept away with them. And the bridge is still there today. They just built over it, sort of. Like, there's the old bridge, and then there's the newer bridge, like, several feet above it. And they say that if you go to the bridge, I don't know if it's just at any night at all or during a full moon, that you can see the ghost of the woman, and she will show you either your death or your true love, depending on what you meet first. Frankly, I think that one's a crock of bull, but my dad did it. My dad's seen both of these things. My dad didn't, and he didn't see the true love's face. He just said he just saw a head of red hair. And my dad is not a believer in the paranormal. He thinks it's a crock of bullshit. Those are his exact words. There's nothing going on. It's just a crock of bull. But he vouches, he swears that he's seen both of those paranormal things. I think they're pretty interesting. Next one. What is your favorite urban legend? I don't know. There's a lot. I love urban legends so much. Like, I love White Women. I love La Llorona, which is a pretty popular one since I'm in the southern United States. La Llorona is the story of a married woman who was on her own with 3 daughters, and she fell for a rich man that moved into her village, but he would not marry her with children since she already had 3 children. So I was told she had daughters, but I've also heard this version where she had sons. The end result is still the same. So she tells her children that to go get their stuff because they're gonna go bathe in the river because this is near the Rio Grande before they dammed it up and it got all slow and gross. Nice talking so much. And so she takes her children to the river. And then when she says that bend down, lean back because I'm gonna wash her hair, she drowns them. And then realizing what she's done, she drowns herself. When she gets to the pearly gates, St. Peter tells her, "You cannot come into heaven until you present me with the bones of your children." And now she haunts the countryside looking for the bones of her children because there's no way she's going to find them. And that's one of my favorite urban legends is La Llorona and Weeping Women and White Women in general, and they're pretty nice. I don't really have a specific favorite besides that one. So. And finally, who I'm gonna tag? I'm gonna tag everybody else who runs the BROTPARTY channel with me, even though they haven't posted or probably even looked at this in a while. I tag them, and I tag anyone who watches this video because of them. Ta-da! This has been Nicole and her dumb stories. Alright. Peace.